Right. So here we are for the finals. Max is going to be on the play. He's going to start out with a Pit Skulk. It's just a 1/1, so he's not going to get full value there on the Bloodthirst.
Not just yet. But I think he just needs to get that threat on the table. That does not bode well for Max if that's his 1-drop. You never want that to be the 1-drop.
Yeah.
Do you think the Gut Shot ever comes up as like a way to enable the Bloodthirst on that card? I wonder.
Maybe. So here we're going to see a Garrick's Companion. This guy is real big. However...
And there goes...
has a lot of removal in it.
There goes the Skulker, probably.
Yeah, witches are going to be real good here. He just needs to try and save it with some type of removal spell. That will be nice.
Oh man, double trample. Isn't that like a thing, Chris? You know, the double trample?
Yeah, just double trample all the way.
Double trample, just get there. Value.
I like this attack with the Pit Skulk.
Yeah. Be patient, blogger. Do not go for that block, sir. He knows all too well that Max has the pump. They always do.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, no!
Oh, he's going to block.
No! What? What? What world do you have to be in that you don't think that Max has it?
He has another Groundswell in his hand, too.
He would have even won that with just a mutagenic, would he not?
Yeah, any pump spell wins that combat.
Maybe his hope it was the Hell Pack, but because there's no Morbid this turn, but that was not the case. Blowout. And Blogger is down to 13 already. This is what, turn 3?
Yeah, Ranger's going to come down. Ranger's going to come down and draw him a card. But this is not looking very good for Blogger. He doesn't have a whole lot of action in his hand that's going to interact there.
You know, big stuff. You're not wrong for Blogger to want to call the bluff, but it's just, ooh, get in there.
Yeah, we got another one. Take 8.
Like, I don't think you can... Like, this deck has a lot of pump spells. Like, Vines of Vastwood Kicked was a thing there, too. Right? I'm not crazy here, am I, Chris? Please, please.
No,
rectify
you're
my
not
sanity.
crazy at all.
He's at 6.
Wow, and he has... Yeah, this is not looking good for Blogger. Although he does have a full grip, and Longitude just has a land in his hand.
Maybe he's building up Delve. You know what? That's not crazy, Paul, but I still feel like I'd rather have a Kubaj Witches.
Well, and Edict's going to take care of the Pit Skulk. But Blogger could just be dead to another removal spell. He does have an Unearth, so he can put the Rager back onto the battlefield. But a pump spell still wins.
That's true, big stuff. Yeah, pump going to protect creatures instead of pump going to face. I mean, these pump spells look great. That this mono green deck employs.
He's going to cycle Baron more. This will be an interesting game if Blogger is able to stabilize here.
Yes. I love the Unearths. That's something we didn't see from Telemachus. Obviously, Telemachus was the other mage on Mono Black. Did not see any copies of that, and they've played pretty well in Blogger's list, haven't they, the Unearths?
Yeah.
Just more copies of Rager and Witches when you need them.
Yeah, I mean, if this is a pump spell, Blogger's dead. If it's not, he's still going to take 2. Goes down to 4. Nettle Sentinel will protect his Garrick's Companion from any Edict effects.
Do we see Blogger back-to-back Grey Merchant like he did against Mad Hatted earlier in the weeks leading up to this?
He might. If he has a land here, he's able to Gurmag Angler and play a 3-drop, though, which could be real good.
Might be better than deploying the Merchant. We'll see which line he takes. I think you're absolutely right. Gurmag plus Rats would be good. Maybe we'll see Merchant. This mono black deck can just kind of come out of nowhere. Sometimes.
This is actually interesting. Had Max put that Rancor on the Pit Skulk, he might have actually just won. He might have won this game way earlier.
Right, that one turn where he didn't attack with the Skulk because of the.
Plus, like if he puts the
Rager.
Like if he puts the Rancor on the Pit Skulk, then the Witches can't block it that turn.
Mm-hmm.
So you just like are guaranteed to get in the damage and not have to use your pump spell as a removal spell.
I felt the Rancor on the Companion was strange because Companion already has Trample.
It's interesting. I mean, it's vulnerable to the Witches, which is bad, but like then you could potentially win the game the following turn with your double Vines. Looks like we're just going to see a Rats here. Oh, and it looks like Longitude didn't play his land. So it did get stranded in the hand because of that Chittering Rats.
And that's just so backbreaking. I mean, we know he's drawing a force now.
Yeah.
That tempo swing may have just bought everything. Like everything that he needed, Blogger needed. That was maybe a misstep from Max. There's no reason not to play out all your lands. You're not really hiding much information.
He didn't play it because he wanted to have a landfall trigger for a groundswell if he draws it.
But the Rats is just punished so hard for that.
Yeah, but like you've already gone through 2 groundswells, so.
Interesting. All right, so yep, there we go. We're gonna go for the Angler first.
Yeah, I mean I like the double block. Blogger doesn't know that the card in Max's hand is a land.
Correct. This is true. We know, and that's why it feels bad, man. But you know, I think that might be the case, Paul. There might be stabilization from the black deck. I mean, he's going to follow this up with presumably Great Merchant, right? Or are you able to take a turn off for the Combage?
No, I think you have to Great Merchant.
So we'll slam Merchant, and we're going to go up to 8.
Yeah, and put a 2/4 on the field.
Yeah, he taps through that quite quickly. Merchant's a thing. Has 2 Black Devotion itself.
So Grey Merchant's going to put Blogger up to 8, bring Max down to 16. It's also just going to put a 2/4 body, which is going to be real huge.
Something that this mono green deck does not have is deck manipulation, you know, being able to draw. The mono black deck does. I mean, it's got a playset of Phyrexian, and it's got a playset of, you know, Blood, so it does have some draw spells. 8.
Yeah, Rager and Blood give it quite a bit of velocity.
Yes. Don't say that, Mr. Big Stuff. He'll draw it. He did the other day. We were watching, and like Elves had gone like 10 or so wide. He like, what did he play? He played the blue spell. What is the name of that one again?
I don't remember now. Distant Melody.
Thank you, Chris. Your card knowledge is impeccable as always. So the that was sincere, by the way. So the Elf deck had like gone how many creatures wide? And he just drew
like
Merchant.
7 or 8.
Yeah, it was nuts. He like drew a million cards to and like just played all of them out, and then he was just like Merchant, I win. Because these green decks, Elves or mono green Stompy, Chris, they don't really remove. The only way they remove the mono green or the mono black threats is through combat.
Yeah.
So they can just build up a really big devotion. For example, Oubliette probably doesn't leave unless Max sided that way.
Ooh, Grey Merchant's going to get in there for 2. Do we have another Grey Merchant? Nope, just a Witches.
Witches is fine.
And another Witches.
You know, double Witches is a big deal. Because any threat Max plays, most any threat Max plays, I should say, he should be able to Witch.
Yeah.
Now these Rancors, I said they were sweet, but they have a cost. They need something to be attached to.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? A deck that we didn't see, although I think it's deceptively powerful in the Pauper format.
Oh, another Gary.
Yes, it's
Drain for 8, take Max to 2, Blogger up to 12. You know, I was sick of that card in Standard. Sick of it now.
I like what Max is doing. Can we cast the other one?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yep, just cast another one. Okay, he's gonna scoop.
All right, well, Blogger is going to take game 1 here in our finals on Mono Black Devotion. Against Max Longitude, who's on Mono Green. While our players go to sideboarding, let's take a look at Blogger's sideboard. See if we can figure out what he's going to bring in. So he has 1 Pestilence, 1 Bajuka Bog, 4 Choking Sands, a Corrupt, a Font of Return, 1 Nausea, 2 Relic of Progenitus, a Shrivel, and 3 copies of Wrenchmind. What do you think he's going to bring in?
I think we're going to see, even though some of Max's threats do not fall victim to Shrivel and Nausea, we could potentially see those. Something else that maybe excites me is the Corrupt, perhaps even. I don't know how I feel about Wrenchmind. What do you think about those thoughts, Chris?
I like the Corrupt as a way to gain back life if you need it. I also like the Pestilence. It's just another board sweeper.
I don't know why I skipped over it. Yeah, the second Pestilence is huge.
Yeah, just cards like Chittering Rat seem like they're just not very good here. So that easily frees up 4 slots for you, which could just be a Pestilence, a Corrupt, a Nausea, and a Shrivel. Let's take a look at Max Longitude sideboard and see what he could potentially bring in here. We have 2 Brindle Shoat, 2 Epic Confrontation, 2 Gleeful Sabotage, 2 Gutshot, 2 Natural State, 2 Relic of Progenitus, and 3 Scattershot Archer. What do you think Max is going to bring in?
I like the Shoats. They provide more, as we put it, cushion for said pushing against these edicts. I like the Epic Confrontation, perhaps even, if there are things we need to be taking out. Would you consider any number of Sabotage? I feel like we do need to be able to remove Pestilence. It also, in a pinch, will remove an Oubliette.
Yeah, I think I probably just bring in 1 Sabotage.
Just 1? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can't dilute our deck too much. So,
yeah,
so
we
maybe
can't
1
dilute our deck.
Sabotage.
We can't dilute our deck, and I actually really like Epic Confrontation. Like, one of the ways that we're going to be able to steal a game here is where you just play like Nettle Sentinel or a Garrick's Companion, and then you just get 2 Epic Confrontation Combat Witches.
Yeah, Confrontation is really neat. I like the card a lot. I mean, they're not often green fight spells that are all that great. You know, like green removal has always been, I mean, like what is there? There's like Beast Within. That's kind of strange removal. There's never really been good green removal. I really like these Confrontations. We've seen Max do some pretty cool things with these the 2 of Epic Confrontation, haven't we, over the course of this tournament?
Yeah, well, like you said, these green aggro decks don't really have ways to remove creatures outside of via the combat step. But Epic Confrontation is a way that they can actually do that, and it's very beneficial. So I'm not surprised. I will not be surprised to see him bring them in here.
Yeah, it seems fine.
Especially since Witches is just so good.
Well, what's neat about it is every time we've seen him play it, not only does he remove one of his opponent's creatures, it also adds a point of combat prowess to the creature. The Confrontation does.
Yeah,
so it's like a pseudo pump spell. Yeah. It doesn't feel like a wasted slot.
Yeah, so here we have a very good start for Max. He's going to start out with the Young Wolf into a Rancor attack into a 2/2 Pit Skulk. On J-Rex's turn here, if he just plays something like Witches, Epic Confrontation could just be a huge blowout for Max Longitude here going into turn 3 if he happens to have it.
Yeah. Now, it looks like Max has the kind of start that he needed to have perhaps last game. But the Blogger could easily, I mean, looking at Blogger's hand, I could see the removal lining up quite nicely. I mean, well, okay, so ideally the Witches, so let's think about how perhaps Blogger wants to aim his specific removal. That's a lot of where the skill comes from a deck like this. We need to combage the Young Wolf so that it undies, and then, you know, we use perhaps the Edict. What do you think, Chris? How is he going to sequence this removal? Obviously, you have his hand in front of you as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to do that if this Witches happens to live. I mean, Blogger called this attack bluff last game. Let's see if he does it again.
He does not do it this time. And it's funny, we have all the information, of course. Max doesn't have it this time, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, Max's hand is set up. Well, he has a Hunger of the Howpack, so like he would be able to Hunger.
Oh, that's true.
To put a counter. Like the way his hand is set up here, he is able. He's going to be able to save his young wolf from this Witch's attack with the Hunger, or he might even just like let it happen, and then get 3 counters off of his Hunger, which would be pretty insane.
Indeed. Paul brings up a good point, something we didn't talk about, and I'm going to pull up his list, and maybe I'll discuss it while you keep commenting on the game. Of course, Chris, the things that he could take out, I actually wasn't all that impressed with the play set of Rancor that last game. Maybe you slimmed down on Rancors. Maybe you slimmed down on some of the less desirable threats, is what I would say, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, like, Rancor isn't all that great, so you could probably shave some of those. Plus, like, any 2-mana 1 toughness creature is going to be too slow against Witches, so you can probably cut some of those too.
Okay. There's definitely room to be made for him to bring in maybe 3 sideboard cards, maybe more. I like Brindle Shout. You got me saying it now. You know you make me wanna
shout.
Brindle Shout. Some of the people watching this may be too young to even know what song we're referencing, Chris.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
I know
depressing.
I'm real old.
It's depressing. I was thinking about it the other day. Like, some kids are like growing up and they have no idea that we didn't used to have like smartphones, and like you had to use like payphones, and like just the lack of technology that we have moving forward.
So Blogger's going to take his time here on this turn. Let's see what he wants to do. Looks like he does have an Oubliette, which could be pretty interesting, because I believe that takes Auras with it, so he can get rid of the Rancor.
Yes. Now, this board state, if Max continues to go wide, can really favor him, but I think we're going to see the Shrivel into a Kumbaj Witches activation, and Max will be sad face. That's what I would do, right? I mean, what would you do here, Chris?
Oh, you think Shrivel into Witches?
I would Shrivel into Witches. That's what I would do. I don't know. What line were you proposing?
Well, that kills the Companion, the Quern Ranger, and then gives a 2/2. I think you probably just like Oubliette the Young Wolf.
Okay.
That way you get like 3 power off the board.
Yes. Oubliette is one of the greatest ways to answer the wolf, and that's the line that Blogger goes with. Very clever, Chris. But
I was going to take the Garrick's Companion.
What?
I guess he can Witches the Young Wolf.
What? I mean, is he just trying to mitigate damage? That makes sense if he's just trying to purely.
Oh no, he's going to try and Witches on Max's turn, and that's not going to work out for him.
No. Well, what do we do here? We'll block on the.
He'll block on the Quern Ranger and then try and shoot the Young Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, he can't block Skulk.
These Hungers are going to be pretty gross.
But he's
I guess we don't attack with the Quern Ranger.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't because that's an obvious block for the Witches, but this is not. Well, I love close Magic, and I'd love to see a game 3 between these two. Let's see if Max can continue to keep the beats going and squeeze this one out. I think he should have played his land, because that says, hey, maybe I have the landfall pump. Anytime before you go into combat with this green deck, I like playing that land. I don't know, how do you feel about that? Does that like bluff? Does it also not bluff the groundswells, Chris?
Yeah, I like that. So where is this Witches? So the Witches is going to Young Wolf.
Okay. And Max, is going to shoot. I almost called him Jay. Blogger.
So it looks like Max is going to let it happen. Undying will happen, but now he has like double Howl, so he can just like make his Pit Skulk an 8/8. Just can never be blocked. Oh no, he's just going to do 2. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, Here's another question. So these boas?
Oh no, they're river boas. So for some reason, I thought they were Hunger of the Howl pack.
I wasn't going to correct you, Chris, because they are a little small. The hands.
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Fair enough.
Okay,
friend.
they're river boas. I thought he had hunger. That is much different.
Yes. And what sucks about him playing boa here is this shrivel just got even more fantastic. I think we're just going to see him just slam this shrivel, clean up the ranger, clean up the boa, and then ping off this pit skulk, leaving Max with just a wolf. You got
the shrivel is going to be insane.
Yeah, here it comes. So see a boa, see a ranger. Regeneration not going to help you against that shrivel. This is a blowout. This is a 3-for-1 because of the witches. Hunger of the boa. Yeah, this shrivel is huge. And I think Max is just outgunned now.
Yeah, this is real rough.
Like, do you see Blogger's hand? Like, it's glorious.
I mean, he has a Grey Merchant. That's basically what he needs.
He doesn't even need the Merchant to win this, though.
Is he not going to shoot something?
He's thinking. You need to shoot something here. It's so bizarre if he doesn't shoot off the what?
Oh, he has Disfigure, too, so he can kill... Oh, he has an Edict, so he's just going to Edict and then shoot something?
Okay, that's fine. I don't know if I agree with it. I would still rather spend the Disfigure. Well, actually, no.
I like the Edict.
Yeah, the Edict doesn't line up so great against this deck always. That's true.
Yeah, they have, like, Nettle Sentinel and stuff. Man, this is looking real rough for Max Longitude now.
He has no creatures, and you don't want to be like that on turn 5 when you're the mono green deck. You don't want it to be this way. And when we see in his hand, we see that Rancor. This Riverbow doesn't even matter now.
No.
We wish it was the Meyer Boa. Do you think that's a misstep for Max Longitude's deck construction? I'm not trying to point fingers. Obviously, it's very irrelevant that it's the River versus the Meyer Boa. But Meyer Boa having Swamp Walk in this matchup looking so miserable, I almost wish he was running more Meyer Boas than he was running River Boas. He's running a 2-1 split in favor of the Island Walker.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just whatever you decide to do. Like, you can take it or leave it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Here, I think... See, now I think that this is a pretty heads-up play just to do this now. That way, if if Blogger happens to have a pump spell, then he can just like use the witches to kill it in response.
Well, I just think Max is just not drawing to what he... And the thing is this deck, this mono green deck, can draw very poorly. Just there's no deck manipulation. I think it's amazing that the deck does as well as it does. Like Max has piloted it very well, but it just doesn't sometimes draw what you need. And there's no deck manipulation in this thing. At least there's draw spells in the Elf deck. They run Visionary. They run the Distant Melody.
Well, we're going to see an attack for Chittering Rat with Chittering Rats here, and a Grey Merchant for 8. It's going to bring Max down to 10, and Blogger back up to 16. That card should not have been a common.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember playing Grey Merchant in, like, Theros Limited, and it was just insane.
That's reasonable, big stuff. That's reasonable.
This attack is going to bring Max down to 5, and if he doesn't have anything... we might crown a champion right here. MTG Blogger might take this.
Yeah, Max put up a good fight, but when you're just drawing the pump spell side of this deck, and Max gives him the grats.
Wow. Well, MTG Blogger is going to be our winner. He's going to take this 2-0. Just completely swept this match. I mean, and that's how we figured it would happen.